Let's now tell you about what's happening in Israel, where people are voting for the 5th time under 4 years. Former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is attempting to come back to power. His main opponent is the incumbent interim Prime Minister Yair Lapid. Our next report brings you all the details.
61 seats, that's what is required to get a majority in Israel's parliament, or Knesset as it is known in Hebrew. Two coalitions are facing off. The right-wing coalition, led by former Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu, and the more broad-based coalition, led by the incumbent Prime Minister Yair Lapid. Both groups are expected to fall slightly short of the majority mark. Whoever cobbles together an alliance will have a tough time maintaining it. The last government fell because of defections. The ones before it could not hold on to their majorities either. This instability is what has led to 5 elections in under 4 years in Israel. Before the turmoil, Netanyahu was prime minister. He served even after the chaos began in 2019. He managed to stay in power till 2021. After spending 12 years at the helm, he is Israel's longest-serving prime minister. But Netanyahu was eventually ousted by Naftali Bennett and Yair Lapid. While casting his ballot, Netanyahu hoped that the day would end with a smile.
It's a great privilege to vote. I obviously say it to our supporters, but also generally to the citizens of Israel. I told you I was a little bit worried, but God willing and with the help of the people who hear us, we'll finish the day with a smile. But it's up to the people.
Before the elections, opinion polls said Netanyahu's coalition was slightly ahead. His Likud party was expected to end up the largest in parliament. But that was true of the last election as well. That didn't prevent Lapid and Bennett from taking over. This is what Lapid said while casting his vote.
This election is between the future and the past, so go vote today for the future of our children, for the future of our country. Vote well. Good luck to everybody. Thank you very much.
Let's assess that statement. Is there really a big difference between Lapid and Netanyahu? What are their policies? Well, start with Ukraine. Lapid has said he will not send Kyiv missiles. Netanyahu said he will look into it. Netanyahu also expects that he may be called to act as mediator between Russia and Ukraine. What about issues closer to home? Israel recently concluded a historic maritime deal with Lebanon, a deal that Netanyahu planned. He called it against Israel's interests. If he returns to power, he may drop the border agreement. Then there's Iran. Netanyahu has always considered it an enemy state, and that's one view he and Lapid do not diverge on. Irrespective of who's in charge, Israel-Iran relations are not expected to change. And what would Netanyahu's rise mean for Palestinians? Would Lapid's declaration of support for the two-state solution be forgotten? Probably. Netanyahu has himself on occasion said he supports the solution, but he did not act on this during his past stint in power. Also, his right-wing allies are likely to block any move towards a separate Palestine. The victor of these elections will be decided by the people, and the people have turned up in larger numbers than last time. Last we checked, around 28.4% of eligible voters had voted in the country around 12 p.m. local time. That's the highest noon percentage since 1999. A high turnout may harm Netanyahu. especially if Israel voters of Arab descent turn out in numbers. The Arabs make up about a fifth of Israel's population. The last regime had an Arab party as part of the ruling coalition for the first time. Netanyahu called it dangerous and said it should not happen again. So, will the Arabs be able to ensure they are represented once more? Will Israel's smaller parties end up kingmakers again? Or will Netanyahu emerge as Prime Minister once more? We'll find out in a few hours. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.